Hello, Wendy and Kelly and everyone. Welcome.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Today we're going to be discussing the practice of energy clearing. Before we start, let's define what we mean when we're talking about energy. Of course, energy is everywhere and everything. We are energy. Everything that we see and can touch in this world is energy, but it's congealed energy. We're going to be discussing subtle energy, or some people call it spiritual energy. It's the energy that many Eastern cultures have been familiar with for thousands of years. In India, they call it prana, as in the yogic practice of pranayama. Um, in China, they call it qi, as in qigong or tai chi. In Japan, they call it ki, as in reiki. So this energy is neither good or bad; it's neutral. However, our energy, people's energy, influence the energy through our thoughts, intentions, emotions, and activities. So either raising it or lowering the frequency of the energy. And one thing that's really important about subtle energy is that it loves to circulate, it loves to move, it's always in flux. It doesn't like to be confined or stuck or stagnate in at all. So it's important to always keep the energy moving. So, with that in mind, I'm going to ask you two, why do we clear energy? Do you have an energy practice, Wendy? An energy clearing practice, rather?
I do, yeah, and I use it more and more all the time. For me, it's a visualization where I'll either be laying down or sitting, and I have started to. There's a couple of things I do, but one of the ones that I've been doing more lately as my heart chakra opens up and the blocks are being released is that I'll sit in a nice deep breathing kind of state, and then I'll tune into my heart chakra. And as you tune into your heart chakra, you begin to feel this kind of effervescent tingling that you can feel emanating from your heart. And if you visualize it going further and further out, it is a really brilliant way to bring in positive energy, which can break up the blockages of any of that stagnant and negative energy you were referring to.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's a really nice one. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it feels
beautiful.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see any colors when you're doing that?
Um,
Just curious.
I typically will see colors if I'm intentionally focused on clearing my chakras.
Uh-huh.
I'll see the colors. When chakras are a little bit blocked, the color will be more muddy. And then
Mm.
as you're clearing the energy, the color brightens. So that's how I will see colors mostly.
That's a good way to know if you're clearing it. That's great.
Yeah.
Good. How about you, Kelly? Do you have an energy clearing practice?
Yeah, mine's more reactive than proactive these days. So it's a good, I'm really actually looking forward to this conversation because it's a good prompt to incorporate proactive practices as well into my life. But reactively, I do feel in my legs, kind of lately, it's been quite often, I just feel this really strong flowing energy. And so I lay down. I put my hands either, usually I start with my hands kind of on my groin. And then I just do deep breathing and kind of do like a Reiki practice, like some deep breathing and feel the energy and feel it, just stay with it until it balances. And then usually I also do the same practice on my solar plexus. And I usually find like after, not too long, like even 10 minutes, I can just kind of get things cleared and calmer. So yeah, so I do that kind of regularly.
That's really interesting, Kelly. So, do you think that's sort of stuck energy in your legs, that heaviness, or What do you attribute
I
that to?
think I kind of think it's overstimulation. Like I
Oh,
think I tend to take on too much. And
mm,
I think I'm in this like phase of my life where I'm trying to um down regulate my system,
mm.
but my body is so like from years of just like going, my body still is like wants to like keep going. So I feel
Ah,
like I'm balancing. I'm trying to like balance my body and bring it
mhm,
back. Yeah. And then it probably because it's in my legs, I'm thinking it's probably related to my root chakra and just my lack of rootedness as well. So
mm.
yeah. So I've actually, yeah, yeah. So I have incorporated some like root practices as well, but not so much energy clearing, but just stabilizing. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. It's an interesting practice too.
Yeah.
Um, s- so for space clearing, let's talk about space clearing. Why would we clear a space? So we would clear a space just like you would clean your house. If you imagine never cleaning your house, the
This is
dust
why I
and
don't proactively do it.
the dust and dirt would accumulate after a while. And it's the same with stuck energy. It just, all of the thoughts and the emotions and the stuff that's activities that have been happening in your home, they stay there, they get stuck there, and just like dust and dirt, they accumulate and they become energetic clutter, and it feels heavy. Do you have ever experienced that where you walk into a room and you just feel really heavy? Not
Yeah.
because anything bad has happened, just like there's a lot of stagnant energy in that room.
Yeah.
Well, that can be cleared out and fresh new energy can come in, because when you're living in a place that's always kind of stagnant, nothing new can happen. You need fresh ideas, you need new things coming in. So in order to get those fresh new ideas coming in, you need to get rid of the old stagnant energy. So you've just both described practices that you have to clear energy. What about space clearing? Both of those practices that you've described are for the body mainly. What about for your space? What do you do? Kelly, for instance, what do you do to clear your space, your
Do you
Reiki
mean my
space?
house
Well, your
or
space,
where
yeah,
you
or
spend your time?
yeah, or your room, or yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting question, Viola. I've been on a bit of a semi-minimalist thing lately. So I think like clearing out, and I'm nowhere close to a minimalist, but really clearing out all the stuff that you acquire. The other night, I just tossed out a bottle that I'd kept because I really liked the lid. It was a really
Oh,
nice glass lid, and it's been under my sink for about 5 years. Like, you know what? I don't need this. So that went in the recycling bin. So, yeah, so I have been kind of looking at things in my home and ridding it of things that just really have no purpose or no sentimental value or no real need to have them. And that's it. Actually, you feel lighter when you do that. You feel a lot lighter.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Wendy?
yeah, that kind of goes along with feng shui practices, doesn't it? When you're
Mm.
changing things up in your place or getting rid of some things, it does allow for that energy to flow. I've been going through some purging as well. Um, I'm still in the middle of it though, so I think the energy is chaotic a little bit in my place, but um, I do another visualization to clear stagnant energy as well. I have had several instances where I've been in a place that has been a very stagnant energy. I used to call it dead energy. Like this place has dead
Mm.
energy.
Yeah.
You just feel it when you walk in, like you were saying before.
Yeah.
And so when I was in a situation where it was a very stagnant energy in this apartment that I lived in, I was doing a lot of meditating at the time. I was learning a lot about energy clearing. It was kind of like a real growth phase for me spiritually. And I was just on the couch one day and I was thinking about the energy and I started to, in my mind, I started to see like this female SpongeBob come into my mind. And she was standing at the door and she had like a feather sweeper and a bucket full of cleaning things. And so I invited her in. This is all mentally. I had my eyes closed. It was all visualization. And she just started coming in and doing this like Tasmanian devil swirling all around. And so I guided her through all of the different areas and the closets all around. And you could literally see the darkness turning into light. And then when she was done, she went out and she was gone. And the energy did feel quite a bit better.
Wow.
And
That is amazing.
started to do more clearings later on. Yeah, yeah. It was amazing.
That is amazing. That's a great visualization. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very powerful technique, actually, visualizing, clearing the space.
Ah.
I think the most important first step, though, is to actually physically clean and declutter. So both of you touched on the decluttering.
Yeah.
It's huge. Clutter holds on to so much energy from the past, usually. So getting rid of clutter that's not meaningful to you anymore is a really, really good practice. But you have to be gentle with yourself. Sometimes it's hard to get rid of things. So, baby steps. It's a work in progress. Having a healthy, energetic lifestyle is a work in progress.
Yeah.
But keep in mind that just because the clutter might be out of sight, somewhere in your basement or tucked into a closet, it doesn't mean it's out of your mind. It's still weighing on your energy. So just keep that in mind. So I'm just going to go through quickly some of the practices that clear energy. So everyone, you're both familiar with smudging as a very powerful tool for clearing a space. And also some herbs are good for inviting in fresh energy. So you would use sage for clearing out dead energy. But things like sweetgrass and palo santo actually invites in fresh energy. Now, I don't know if you want to go, I don't think we have time to go through all the steps and how to do this, but just briefly, you light sage or whatever, your smudge, open a window, and you start at the door through each room, focusing a lot on the corners, because corners, any 90-degree angles is where energy tends to become stuck and stagnate. So you focus in the corners and 90-degree angles, and you do counterclockwise to get rid of old stuck energy, and then clockwise to invite in new energy. So maybe you'd
beautiful.
use sage counterclockwise, and then you light your palo santo or sweetgrass, and you go clockwise to bring in fresh energy. And it's a good idea to have your window open so that the energy can move out and fresh energy can move in. One interesting thing that I picked up in one of the books or YouTube that I've been researching for this episode is that some people cover their window, not their windows, their mirrors when they're smudging. And yeah, and that is because they consider mirrors portals to another world. And so if you cover it, then your smudging energy is being focused just in this world.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah. So it's something to consider. If you have a big mirror in the room that you're smudging, you might want to try that. So that's smudging. There are so many herbs that you can use, though. You don't have to stick to sage or the traditional ones. You could use rosemary, lavender, have you guys dabbled in any other smudging herbs that you're familiar with that you want to share?
Not,
Kelly or
oh.
Wendy? whoever,
Go ahead,
whoever
Wendy.
has.
I was going to say not for smudging necessarily, but cinnamon is apparently a
Mm,
powerful for bringing in abundance. And so if
Oh,
you put
yeah.
cinnamon sticks in the corners of your place,
Hmm.
I will say I did try it, and then I did get a job. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
years ago. So there's
that's
definitely some power
interesting.
to that.
Cinnamon sticks, and it smells so lovely too. I like the smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the things you're mentioning, that's what I was thinking. They all smell beautiful. Rosemary and
Hmm.
lavender, they're all they're beautiful.
They
I love
are.
the way sage smells too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And if you live in a place that you can't use smoke or incense, incense is also very powerful, just like the smudging. If you can't burn anything in your place, there are smudge sprays
Oh,
made from the essential oils of these herbs that you can buy online, I think. We'll also link a recipe for a smudge spray in the podcast notes. As well, I will link all the books that I've consulted and the YouTube channels that I referenced um, for this episode in the podcast notes.
Amazing.
So that's one way of clearing a room. So sound is very powerful too. It breaks up stuck energy. So bells, ringing bells, clapping hands, so portable. You know, you're
oh, that's a
staying in
great one.
yeah, you stay in
Yeah.
a hotel room. You don't know what's gone on in that hotel room before you.
You don't want to know.
So you just
No, you
clap,
don't.
clap your hands. Clap your hands, and you're breaking up the energy in there. Yeah, that sound is really powerful, like uplifting music, singing, ringing bells, singing bowls, chimes. So any kind of great sounds like that can break up stagnant energy. Crystals are really good helpers for keeping an area energetically clean, like selenite and clear quartz or rose quartz. Some people put little pieces of selenite around their front door
Mm,
to make sure that all the energy that comes in is sort of cleansed.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
that's cool. You know, interesting about the clapping your hands, I've noticed as a tarot reader, and I watch tarot videos on YouTube probably too often, but there are some readers out there who will like punch their cards before they start reading. I find that a little bit, I don't know. I know it's a good intention, but I have a hard time with hitting it. But I see because it does break up the energy and kind of
Yeah.
flow.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I use bells in my Reiki studio.
Oh,
So
do
yeah,
you?
I do. So I do it currently at the end of each day. So yeah, and then I just, yeah, just kind of, and it's so pretty. I even ring them in front of my husband when he's grumpy. So we need to clear the negative
Oh,
energy, babe. And then he smiles. I'm like, see, it works every time.
it
It works
works. Huh?
every
Oh, that's
time.
beautiful. What a great
Wow,
idea.
it's great. Hmm.
Oh, that's fun.
So, so that. Those are some ideas for clearing a space. Do you guys have any other ideas for clearing space, Kelly?
No, I do the smudging and I do the bells. And I think those are my biggies, actually.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And I
They're
just
very
even find
powerful.
just the process of doing them is just such a peaceful, it's just a peaceful thing to do. I feel very just kind of energetically at ease
Mm.
whilst doing them as well. So they're a nice ritual.
Hmm.
And I love that you have a sage plant in your Reiki room as well.
Oh yeah. It's growing
Yes.
like crazy, so
Wow.
I'm happy.
Good energy. Yes.
Yeah.
Me.
One more thing that I should mention with saging or with smudging is that I think it's kind of important to say a blessing or an intention or a prayer of some sort while you're going around from room to room. Something as simple as I am clearing out stuck energy that does not serve my highest and greatest good, or just
Mm.
something that you could make up your own. But I think intention is really important.
Yeah.
It's a pretty important part of that whole process. So I'd forgotten to mention that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. How
That's
about
amazing.
how about you, Wendy? Do you have any other ideas about how to clear a room?
Well, something that I came across this year, well, over the last couple of years, that didn't occur to me before, um, is that, how do I say this? So I was in a relationship that I left 4 years ago, and every once in a while I would have these, like after your relationship, you always try to clear your energy. You always try to like get yourself back to a place of being the whole you, who you are. And I was doing that through different ways, and I couldn't figure out every once in a while, like this thought would still come up, and I would still feel a bit of that same emotion. And I couldn't figure it out because I thought I had done all the work until one day I came across something that belonged to that other person. It
Mm,
wasn't mine. And I thought, oh, so there's still this energy connection in my home because I have this actual thing with that person's
Mm.
energy. And so I actually went on a little bit of a hunt and I went through all my things to make sure that all of that person's things were cleared out. And that was really, really helpful. So if you're having that kind of a situation, have a look for things that don't belong to you.
that is a really good idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we have energetic ties to those things. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anything we own, there's a tie. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people say, "Oh, I bought this antique at an antique store and now my house is haunted." There could still be
Yep.
that person's spirit connected to that item. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. Um, so speaking of our spirit, our auras are very sticky. Um, it's not like our bodies are, our skin is not sticky. Our auras are quite sticky. So things that we don't necessarily want can stick to us. So let's talk about, you've already both mentioned two ways that you clear your own aura. Those are really good. But there are a few other methods that I want to talk about. And one of them, again, is super easy. It's movement, shaking, dancing, jumping, uh, running, and walking. We already do this naturally when we say something like, I need to go for a walk to clear my head. I mean, we intuitively know that walking and moving our body helps us to get rid of energy that we don't want. So the movement is really powerful. And of course, you could smudge your own body. The way to do that would be to start at the head, on the top of the head, and work your way down to your feet, and then down your back, all the way down to the ground, bringing in positive intentions as you go. So you need that new energy to come in to take place, to take the place of that um, empty space that you're creating. That's an
You know,
important
I've
thing.
never thought of that. I always think of clearing the negative energy, but I never think about like replacing that
Yeah,
with clear energy. And that's a critical part.
it's pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of new for me recently too, Kelly, to have kind of a similar understanding when people talk about creating space for something. It took
Mhm.
me a long time to understand that what they meant was clear the negative energy that is taking up the space that this new thing should be in.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so an important part of transition.
Yeah, really glad you brought that
Mhm.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a hard concept for me to understand too when I first started learning about energy. I'm like, what do you mean holding space? You know, I
Yeah.
didn't get it either.
Or
So yeah,
even just holding on to something like, oh, you got to let it go, let it go. And I
yeah.
remember looking at the universe one day going, I'm not hanging on to anything. Physically put my hands to it. Closing thing, but yeah, it takes a while.
Well, and this is way off topic, but that also links to just the discussions around consciousness, right? Like that whole piece of like moving into that like broader consciousness is like letting go of who you are and what you own, and it's all kind of related. But that's a topic for another day. But
It's a good topic. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it this yeah, it ties into my last thoughts on energy clearing. Is that I think the most important thing about clearing your own energy and the energy around you is it's a responsibility
Mm,
as citizens of this
Mm.
world. Um, we everything we think, everything we do, everything we feel projects outwards and it becomes part of the energetic fabric of the world. So it's really important to keep it nice and clean and uplifting. So I think that's probably the most important reason to clear our energy.
that I love that, and it's so true. It is so true.
Mhm.
And if I could kind of just add a little bit to that, coming from an ethics perspective of energy clearing and just energy feeling in general, not to dip into other people's energy without their permission. Because
Yeah,
I've had someone I've taken a class from who suggested that as an exercise. They said, oh, if you're standing in line, just check out, like, tune into the person in front of you and see what they're feeling. And I have a real problem with that. So ethically, do not dip into other people's energy without
Yeah,
their permission.
I agree. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
it really. It's yeah, it's like it's invading someone's personal space,
yeah.
basically.
Feels like a violation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah,
may feel it, especially if you're an empath, you'll feel their stuff naturally,
Hmm.
but that's different because you're just that sensitive and you're that open.
So, are there any other comments about energy clearing? I, okay, I think we've covered the most salient points about it. I'm going to draw an oracle card for us today for something to contemplate for the week ahead. And I've got this deck called The Heart Path Oracle Cards by Nadine Gordon Taylor. I love this deck, it's beautiful. And I drew Swimming Between Spaces.
Mm.
Think with your heart, connect with your light. And here is the card. Oops. Oops. Very okay. I'll
Oh, there we go.
there, that's
Oh, it
better.
almost looks like lungs. Like it looks like it's a tree, hey? That kind of looks like lungs.
Yeah, it
Oh,
does
like
look like lungs. You know
Yeah.
what? I think it's supposed to be lungs because there's a heart, an anatomical heart in the middle.
Yes, there is.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that is beautiful. We'll put that up so people can see that.
will do. It's a
and,
lovely deck.
and I love
Yeah.
that it has a frog. And was that a seagull? Because those in themselves are messages as well.
Yes,
I hope
it
I
is a seagull. That's right.
nice. I love it.
And a sun. Well,
Beautiful.
thank you. Thank you so much for this lovely conversation. Um, I feel that the energy has really cleared in this room. Feel lots of positive energies come in. Um, thank you, both of you. We'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you for guiding
Thank
us.
you. Thank you, guys.
A lot for
Bye
you.
now.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.